Can you hear
Hello.
me?
Yes,
Can
Dr.
you hear me?
Manish. Dr.
Yeah,
Manish.
good.
Yeah,
Yes.
very good morning. Uh,
Very good morning
so,
to you, sir.
Very good morning, one and all. It's my pleasure to welcome
Thank you.
everyone for this expert session through a very tough time in COVID-19. Addressing in this series, we are conducting expert lecture on the industry 4.0 by our guest speaker today, Dr. Manish Gupta, from MNIT Allahabad. Dr. Gupta is an associate professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering in MNIT Allahabad. He completed his PhD, MTech and PhD from same institute, that is MNIT Allahabad in 2012, in the area of supply chain management. As far as his award and honor is concerned, Dr. Gupta is board medalist in the MTech in production engineering, and he secured 25 position in UP state examination, that in the UP board in 1993, and also received during his BTech tenure in BIT Jhansi a very prestigious Institute Merit Scholarship in 96 to 98 during his BTech tenure. The research include, Dr. Gupta research include what is industrial engineering, supply chain management, operation management, and the different optimization techniques, for which he has published in many research publication in this area. Dr. Gupta supervised 17 masters and 3 PhD, full-time PhD scholar working under his supervision. So I welcome once again Dr. Gupta, and please, Dr. Gupta, proceed for this session, Industry 4.0.
Thank you, Dr. Tiwari, for providing me such an opportunity to speak in front of you, of all of you. Can you all share my? Can you all see me? See my video? Are you all able to see me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because my video is already.
The first slide is the first slide is open. That is the overview. Yes.
Okay. Actually,
visual.
I think Professor Tiwari, you have shared my slide, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's why my video is not working. Fine. So we will continue with this presentation only.
Yeah.
The topic of my presentation today, it is an overview of Industry 4.0 and its technologies. Basically, Industry 4.0, this Industry 4.0 is also known as Industrial Evolution 4. And this Industrial Evolution 4, this came into existence during 2014 onwards. And this industry revolution is a very buzzwords today. Because as you all remember, when the president of US came here to India, then at that time, our Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, has also discussed about Industrial Evolution 4 when he was sharing his dice on the stage, as well as when our this yearly budget was announced by our finance minister at that time only. At that time also, our finance minister requested that it is a high time for us to move to now Industrial Evolution 4. Basically, this Industrial Evolution 4, it is the fourth Industrial Evolution, and before this, there were 3 industrial evaluations: Industrial Evolution 1, 2, and 3. Now, basically, before going into the concept of this Industrial Evaluation 4, I'll be discussing in short a very brief about what is this evaluation. See, in the present scenario of globalization and competition, because as you all see that in the present scenario, competition has increased day by day. Some years back, we were having very limited number of manufacturers that were providing the products to the customers. But nowadays, a market is really tough for the manufacturers because the customers are provided with a variety of products. Customers in the present scenario are having too many options. So due to this competition, what is happening? Customers are expecting more day by day. Customers are becoming demanding day by day. Customers want to have products having more and more added features, and that too at reduced cost. In the present scenario, don't expect any brand loyalty from the customer. Okay, the best example that I will cite here, it is of the mobile phones. It is my personal example, and you all are also very much aware of this. During year 2000, I was using that Motorola mobile phone, which was a very big size mobile phone having black and white display. At that time, we used to pay 6 rupees for the incoming call per minute and 6 rupees for the outgoing call. That mobile phone, it cost around, at that time, the cost was around 5,000 rupees. That big size mobile phone. After a few years, what happened? Due to the technological advancement, technological advancement, the size of the mobile phones was reduced, but the price was still the same 5,000 rupees. Then, after few, maybe after a year or two, then again, in the same price range, we used to have that small sized mobile phone with some colored display. With some color display, as well as they were having some camera sort of facilities. We can share our files using web. Wireless access protocol was there. Means with the help of web, we can access the internet and we can share movies and pictures with all our friends. Then what happens? After few years, in the same price range, customers were provided small size mobile phones having color display, having camera, recording, internet, everything was provided to them. And in the present scenario, after 20 years, we can see that again, in the same price range, now we are having our mobile phones that are just like mini computers. Android based phones, they are just like mini computers. Now we are having all the facilities that a particular person can have on the mobile phones. So we can see that what happened due to this technological advancement, due to this technological advancement during these 20 years, what happened? The price of the product was nearly the same, but more and more features were added to the product. So this is the present scenario of the market, of the business. Means today customers want to pay as much low as possible, and they want to have as many features they can have in their mobile, in their products. Then when we were young and when we were kids, we used to see that we used to have very limited options. If we talk about color televisions, if we talk about any household items, either it is soap or it is toothpaste, customers used to have very limited number of options because very limited number of manufacturers were there in the industry. If somebody had to purchase a car, at that time only Mazda or it could be Fiat Padmini. No other option was there during 1980s, in the early 80s. But then due to this globalization and competition, more and more partners, more and more organizations, more and more industries, manufacturers came into market. During Due to this, what happened? Now customers were having more and more options. When the customers were having more and more options, then customers became choosy, because now each and everyone is trying to attract the customer towards itself. When each and everyone is trying to attract the customers itself, it means now customers are in a position, okay, if you are providing us this much, these many features at 5,000 rupees, then they will be expecting from the another manufacturer, he will be adding, he will be providing them with some more added features, and that too in the same cost. Now this is the challenge for the manufacturers. Means in the present scenario, due to this competition, due to this globalization, and due to this technological advancements, the manufacturers are forced to provide the quality products to their customers, having some added features, and that too at a reduced cost. Means now the manufacturers cannot increase the cost of the product, but they have to improve the quality, as well as they have to include some more added features in the product. Now, under this environment, it becomes very difficult for the manufacturers to survive in the able to satisfy the requirements of the, and the rest will be moving out of the market. So in this light came the concept of industrial evaluation 4, because we want to reduce our expenses, and we want to improve the quality of the product. This is why this industrial evaluation came into existence. So this is the history about this industrial evaluation 4, why this industrial evaluation 4 came into market. And a brief, if you all can see, sir, please put on my first slide. Can you go to the previous slide, please, sir? Yeah. In my slide, if you all can see the evaluation of manufacturing system. Previously, it was the Stone Age. Then came the Bronze Age. During the Stone Age, we used to make things from stones. Then the items were being made with the help of bronze during that nomadic time, and after primitive time, and after that what happened during the Iron Age came the Iron Age, and after Iron Age came the era of Machine Age. This era of Machine Age, it came into existence during 800 AC to it was around 1800, means around 300 years back. Till 300 years back we were in the era of Machine Age, and then the present era is known as Modern Age, and this era of Modern Age came into existence from 1800. This era of Modern Age, as you all can very well see, it consists of 4 evaluations. First, industrial evaluation that came into practice during 1970-80s. Second, industrial evaluation that came into existence during 1870s. Third, industrial evaluation that came into existence during 1969, and the fourth industrial evaluation that came into existence during 2014. The first industrial evaluation that came into existence in 1780s was just after the invention of steam engines. And before this first industrial evaluation, although we were having machines, but those machines were manually operated, means either the manpower or the animal power was used to drive those machines. Then when this steam engine was generated, then steam was used to operate our machines during this era of first industrial evaluation. And this invention, this steam engine, generally opened the concept of this industrialization. And we use these steam to operate our machines, to operate our engines, till electricity was invented. Electricity was invented during 1870s, and before that all the machines were steam operated, either the steam operated or the human operated. And when this electricity was introduced, yeah, in the next slide you can see, when the steam was introduced, then what happened? Came the era of industrial evaluation 2. Means now we used to have machines that were operated with the help of electricity. This was second industrial evaluation. The third industrial evaluation. Third industrial evaluation came into existence when this automation, computers, electronics came into existence, and it was during 1970s. Okay, it was during 1970s that this industrial evaluation 3 came into existence, and present is the era of industrial evaluation 4. In industrial evaluation 4, we are using the physical system as well as cyber system. Physical system refers to the real object, as well as cyber system refers to the digital objects. Fine. So in this present slide, you can very well clearly see that industrial, it is mentioned industry 1.0, industry 2.0, industry 3.0, and industry 4.0. So industry 1.0 simply means industrial evaluation 1. And in industrial evaluation 1, we were having mechanical assemblies that were operated, then operated with the help of steam. Then in industry 2, industry 2, we were having the mechanical assemblies, as well as we were having these conveyor systems too. Because during this industry 2 revolution, this electricity was already there in the market. During this industrial in revolution 3, you can see the concept of automation, computers, electronics came into market. And the first programmable logic controller, it was developed in 1969. And presently about this industrial evaluation 4. Industrial evaluation 4, it is the cyber physical system, internet of things and many other tools and so on. Hello, can you move to the next slide, please? Yeah. Now, just see this slide. Very clearly, this slide shows that during year 2006, we were not aware of these things. iPhone, what is iPhone? Don't have any idea. What is iPad? What is Kindle? What is 4G? There was no concept of 4G during 2006. What is WhatsApp, Instagram, Android phones? Nothing. Nothing was there during 2006. All these things came into exist just due to this technological advancement. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, this slide, it shows a relative comparison of the various items on the basis of time to reach 100 million customers. Telephone that was invented in 1874 took 75 years. It took 75 years to reach 100 million customers. Whereas internet that was introduced in 1980s just took 7 years to reach to 100 million customers. Then similarly Facebook, it took 4 years to reach 100 million customers. And lastly, Pokemon or any other latest game or whatever it is, the time it takes to reach 100 million customers is not more than a month. Now basically this slide, it shows the technological advancement among the users. In the early stages, the users, the customers were not so accustomed to the technologies. And in the present scenario, the time a technology reaches to number of customers is very little. Next slide, please, sir. This is the real definition of industrial evaluation 4. This industry 4.0 or named as industrial evaluation 4, it refers to the current trend of automation, real-time data and interconnectivity that are impacting manufacturing. Means this definition of industrial evaluation, it consists of 3 words. It consists of automation, it consists of real-time data and it consists of interconnectivity. Automation, as you all know, automation means, what is automation? Automation means when we are using automatic machines. This is just the automation. Real-time data. Real-time data means the existing real data, online data. And the third is interconnectivity, means interconnectivity among the various devices. So this definition of industrial evaluation shows that we are having number of devices. Those number of devices are automatic devices and they are interconnected among themselves. They are interconnected among themselves and these devices are generating data, real-time data, they are sharing real-time data, they are collecting real-time data, they are analyzing real-time data, and then on the basis of that particular analysis, these devices are generating control signals and acting wisely. Means in the present scenario, there is no need of any human intervention required. In industrial evaluation 4, all the things are automated. We are having sensors. All the things are interconnected among themselves. All our physical devices have to collect the data, analyze the data, and then generate the command signals to operate the system. Then the next definition of industrial evaluation 4, it shows industrial evaluation 4 integrate digital technologies with physical manufacturing items. Means when we talk about industrial evaluation, then it consists of two things. Physical items means real item. Real item means the machines, the physical machines that we are having. With the digital technologies, we are having number of technologies, number of digital technologies, and then we will be connecting our machines with those technologies so that the system is known as cyber physical system. Cyber means digital, physical means real, system. In industrial evaluation 4, we are having cyber physical systems. Next slide, please, sir. Next slide. Okay. The next slide, this shows the components of Industry 4.0. There are number of components. As you all can see, it is cloud computing, Internet of Things, augmented reality, system integration, big data analytics, robots, cyber security, simulation, additive manufacturing. You might have heard about some of these words. Some of these words you might have heard. Basically, this industry 4.2, it is more than a flashy catch fresh. It is a confluence or the integration or blending, a best blending of the various trends and technologies that promises to reshape the way things are made. Next slide, please, sir. So the main technologies, the main tools, the main contents of this industrial evaluation 4, I'll be discussing with you in detail. Again, you all can see these tools. The main tools of industrial evaluation 4, it is cloud computing, it is IoT, it is augmented reality, it is big data analytics, it is 3D printing, it is GPS system, location detection technologies, and many more things. So we'll be discussing some of these techniques and their application in industries in real in the further coming slides. Next slide, please, sir. The first technique, it is IoT. The definition is IoT refers to a network of physical devices that are digitally interconnected, facilitating the communication and exchange of data through the internet. Means IoT means we are having number of real physical objects. All those physical objects are connected with a device that will generate some data. All these devices, physical devices, are connected among themselves with the help of an internet. Okay, and each device is also connected with a sensor. Means suppose, for example, in this room we are having 5 real objects. So all these 5 real objects means those real objects may be this fan, tube light, air conditioner, this projector and this LED bulb. These are the 5 real objects. Now, if these 5 real objects are connected among themselves with the help of internet, and there is a sensor and a generator, what generator will do? This generator will emit the real-time data. That real-time data will be shared among all the devices. Means in IoT, what happens? We are having number of devices that are connected with the help of internet, connected among themselves, and these devices are emitting some sort of data that is being circulated among themselves. So, for example, if in a room, if we are sitting in a room, our fan is working, our air conditioner is working, or this light is also working, and the temperature of the rooms goes down to a certain level and we start feeling, automatically sensor will sense that the temperature of this room has gone beyond a certain limitation, and what will happen? Automatically the sensor or the controller will emit the signals to the air conditioner to stop the cooling for some time. Means no real human intervention is required. Example number 2. we are sitting in a classroom, okay, and then what happens? Suddenly, some clouds come, and due to those clouds, what happens? The amount of light in the room, it decreases. Our sensors will recognize this condition, and what they will do, they will just increase the intensity of tube lights and bulbs that we are having in our room. This is known as IoT. Means in IoT, all the devices are connected among themselves. There is no need to control those devices manually. For controlling those devices, there will be a sensor as well as there will be a controller. Controller will control those devices after sensing the real-time data, after collecting the real-time data. And the real-time data, excuse me, hello, hello. मेरी स्लाइड शेयर हो रही थी, तो मेरी स्लाइड के बोला गया था कि आपको वीडियो दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है. ओके ओके, ठीक ठीक. Yes. So basically, this is IoT, Internet of Things, and the best example of this IoT is that suppose we are maintaining the inventory of any items. Inventory means what happens? Jesse, suppose we are going to Big Bazaar, we are going to Spencer, or we are going to any other retail outlet. The number of items are there on the shelves that are being displayed. When the customer picks up item, an item reduces from that particular shelf. So if we fit a sensor on that particular shelf, then what happened? That sensor will automatically count the number of items that are available on their shelf, and it will generate the signal to the inventory manager कि now the amount of item available on the shelf is below the satisfactory level, is below the average level, and he needs to refurnish those items. Means now no physical human intervention is required. This concept of inventory or this inventory activity is being managed by a sensor, and a sensor is generating the signal to the alert signal to the manager. Just see this example. Using shelf fitted sensors and weighing devices to broadcast inventory information to your warehouse management system. Means we'll be using shelf fitted sensors and weighing devices to our shelves, to our warehouse management system. Putting such a system in place allows warehouse managers to monitor inventory levels, thereby gaining real-time visibility and control over the inventory. This process of tracking inventory involves a lot of manual labor, and this lot of manual labor can be minimized when we are going this concept of IoT. Fine. So this IoT is it is one of the very important tool that is used in industrial evaluation for today in the present scenario. Next slide, please. The next figure, it shows the spending on the Internet of Things during 2015 to 2020. And we can see that this spending has increased in, it has become 4 times, nearly 4 times during these 5 years. Fine. In this graph, you can see around 60% of the global manufacturers will use this IoT in the coming period, and they are going to invest around $70 billion for this IoT. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Hello. Next slide, please. The next slide is it refers to big data. Basically, what is big data? Big data means the data which is large in volume is known as big data because data has no shape. Data just have the volume. Data has the quantity. Since in the present scenario, the amount of data that is being generated by our devices is increasing day by day. We can see the volume of data on the right hand side. We can see the volume of data, the variety of data, the velocity of data, and veracity of the data. So these are the four characteristics of data. The first one is volume. Volume means the quantity. The volume of data that is being generated today is too high. The variety of data. The data that is being generated means the variety of data that is being generated is also too high. It is not the case that we will be having the data only related to the manufacturing. We will be having the data related to HR. We will be relating the data to the customer's feedback. We will be having the data related to our supplier relationship management, related to the data, and the data related to the market conditions, data related to government policies, and many more things. So this is variety of data. So as we can see, the volume and variety of data is increasing, velocity at a very high speed, at a very high velocity, and due to which what happens, this veracity, whereas veracity means uncertainty of data. We are not sure that whatever data is available is 100% correct, 100% accurate or not. We are not 100% sure about this thing. So this is veracity of data. So these are the four characteristics of data. Means the data is increasing at a very high speed, at a very high speed day by day, so that the volume of data is too much, and that the variety of data is too high. Now, the biggest challenge for us is the collection of this data, is the storage of this data, and is the analysis of this data. So this is known as big data analytics or simply big data. In the manufacturing industry, there are many different types of data to take into consideration, including the data coming from the production operation, fitted with sensors and databases, and many more. Now, when we talk about the production system, then in production system, we'll be having number of machines. And if all those machines are connected with with sensor, means if we are having a complete IoT system, so in the environment of this complete IoT system, what we'll be having, all those devices will be connected to a sensor. Those devices will be connected among themselves, and all those devices will be continuously generating a huge amount of data. Now, we need some tool, some technique to collect all that data, and we have to collect all that data. We have to store that data timely. We have to analyze that particular data, and also on the basis of analysis of that data, we have to generate the control signals to control those machines. This is the concept of big data. Next slide, please. From where does this data comes from? Okay, as we have discussed about IoT, in IoT we are having number of devices, and those devices are connected among themselves, as well as those devices are generating data. So this is the main source of data. Whereas, as you all can see in this figure, data comes from transactions, it comes from log data, it may be from emails, audio, visual data, and data through this social media. Sources of data. Basically, these are some of the sources of data. Next slide, please. Now, visualization of data science. To convert this data collected into an actionable business insight and tangible benefit. See, what happens? There is a difference between data and information. The data that we were discussing, that we have collected here, Now it has to be analyzed thoroughly. And after this analysis of data, that data is converted to information. Or we can see that information is nothing but information is the refined data. Data that we have collected cannot be used as such. We need some data analytics tools, and that data analytics tool will convert that data into some meaningful data, and that meaningful data is known as information. We'll be using that particular information when we have to take a certain decision. For taking a certain decision, we require information, and this information, from where we get the information, this information is collected. We get this information from the data that we have collected. In this figure, you can see that this data science, it consists of big data analytics, it consists of data mining. Data mining is a sort of data searching. Means we are having a mine, एक हमारे पास में खदान है, means a lot many amount of data is there, and we have to search the data as per our requirement. We need the data, we have to search the data that we require. Database refers to the storage of data. Then this machine learning and artificial intelligence. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. Fine. This is data analytics. Next slide, please. Now, machine learning. Machine learning, it is a subset of artificial intelligence. In case of artificial intelligence, we have provided some intelligence, or we have embedded some intelligence artificially into our machines, into our equipment, so that they can act like a human being and are able to take a certain decision under the predefined conditions. The machine learning models and data visualization can aid data analytic processes. Data visualization enables manufacturers to more easily comprehend the story the data tells, and the machine learning techniques apply powerful computational algorithms to process that particular data. A very beautiful example of this machine learning is mentioned here. For the Bosch automotive diesel system factories, the company connects its machinery to monitor the overall production process at the core of its plant. This is achieved by embedding sensors into factory machines, which are then used to collect the data about the machine's conditions and cycle time. Once collected, advanced data analytics tools process the data in the real time and alert the workers when any bottleneck in the production operations have been identified. Taking this approach helps to predict equipment failures, enabling the factory to schedule maintenance operation well before any failure occurs. What is being explained in this example is that in this particular Bosch automotive diesel systems, all the machines, all the devices are connected with the help of sensor. That sensor is collecting the real-time data of that machine and transferring it to the controller. If we are having 10 machines, then all those 10 machines are connected with sensors, and that sensor is continuously collecting the real-time data of that particular machine and sending it to the controller. Now, controller is collecting that particular data, and using the advanced data analytics tools, the controller is refining that particular data. And after the refinement of that particular data, with the help of that particular data related to the machines that are being operated, the controller comes to know which equipment is going to fail, so that it will pass on the alert signal to the manager that particular equipment or particular component is going to fail, and you need to take some corrective measures before, so that any failure occur. So this is the best example of this machine learning or data analytics. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is cloud computing. This is cloud computing. Cloud computing refers to cloud and computing, means something that is stored in our clouds. You all have seen number of softwares, number of tools that are available online. There is no need to have all the software being installed on your system. Say for example, if we have to convert a doc file to a PDF file. So in that case, we don't need to have a PDF to doc to PDF converter on our system. What we have to do, number of online softwares are available. When we will upload the doc file to our system, then it will be connected, then it will be converted automatically to the PDF and we can download that PDF file. Fine. So this is known as cloud computing, means the main software, what is the source of that software is not known to us. But we have access to that particular software with the help of internet. So when we are not sure about the source of that particular software, we predict or we assume that that particular software is somewhere there in the sky. Another example, there is an option being known as Google Drive. Google Drive is an option where we can store our files or where we can store our important data, okay, to the Google servers. Now, basically, what is the location of those Google servers where we are storing our data? The location of those Google servers is not known to us. It is not the fact that those Google servers are there in the office of Google at US. No, it is not the case. In a real practice, the location of those servers are known to us, and many of those Google servers are there under the seawater. I don't know whether you are aware of the fact or not that because Google has a large amount of data, and therefore Google Google has to maintain very big servers. Now, for those for the proper maintenance and operating of those systems, Google needs proper temperature regulation. So what happens? Sometimes many of those Google servers are there under the seawater so that proper temperature required by those servers can be maintained. But when we have stored our data on Google servers, then we are not sure about the location of that particular server. That's why it is known as cloud computing. As you all can see in the figure, we are having number of objects. All those objects are connected to a globe, to a cloud. Means we say that there is something on the cloud and we can have the access to those things that exist there in the cloud. Fine. Next slide, please. The next is robotics. Robots is very important tool of this industrial evaluation firm. The fact is that in India, for 10,000 workers, we are having just 8 robots. For 10,000 workers, we are having 8 robots, whereas when we talk about South Korea, then for 10,000 workers, there are around 680 robots. It means we are too behind. We are too behind when we talk about this robotics, the use of robots. In comparison to 650 robots per 10,000 workers in South Korea, we are just having very limited number of robots in India. And that too, about the nature of industry, we say mostly the robots are used in the automobile industries. Indian automobile industries are using robots, and the rest, many of the industries are not at all using those robots. In the present scenario, we are having high-end advanced robots. Those robots are capable of performing very difficult tasks. Those robots are able to collect the data from the real environment, and those robots are able to interact with the human beings, as well as these robots are able to take self decisions. Fine. When we talk about robots, the upper hand of these robots is cobots. Cobots are known as collaborative robots. The collaborative robots are those robots that can work in an collaborative way. Collaborative way means robots that can communicate and collaborate among themselves, as well as robots that can work and collaborate with human operators, human beings. Means now there is no danger to any human operator from a robot. In a particular industry, our robots and our human operator both are working at the same time in a common place. This is known as cobots. Next slide, please. Now, the concept of 3D printing, additive manufacturing. There are number of techniques of this additive manufacturing, also known as rapid prototyping. The word is rapid prototyping, known as additive manufacturing. And if you all have studied the subject of rapid prototyping, of additive manufacturing, then you might be knowing that we are having number of techniques. But the most common and the simplest form of technique is known as 3D printing. It is 3D printing means three-dimensional printing. Just like we are having a 2D printer in our offices, in our houses. What happens in case of 2D printer, we can have a printout on a piece of paper. That paper is a two-dimensional object, means it is just having the length and breadth, but no height. The height is nearly equal, is very insignificant. So that's why it is known as 2D printing. But now in the present scenario, we are having big size 3D printers that are capable of printing the objects having the length, breadth and height too, means z-axis too, that are capable of printing along z-axis too, and this is known as 3D printing. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is a given example. This is a real building in Dubai. And this building, as you all can see here, this building has been printed in China and was exported to Dubai and was assembled there. The total area of this building is around 2,600 square feet, and total it required 17 days for the printing of this building. This building was printed in parts using 3D printing, using 3D printer, and after that all those parts were brought to Dubai, and at the location where this building has to be constructed, all those parts were assembled together, and it just took 2 days in the assembly of all those parts, and we are having a real building in front of us in just 19 days. 19 days means 17 days printing time and 2 days is the assembly time. So this 2,600 square feet building, a real building in just 19 days. It is just a miracle. That result in the labor cost being reduced to up to 80%, and the waste, the construction waste was reduced by 30 to 60%. Next slide, please. Another example of 3D printing is, this is a 3D printed villa in China in 2015 having an area of 11,840 square meter. This villa, it was printed on site and assembled to on site. And in the next slide, you can see a 2-story building again in China in 2016. In the total area of this building, it is 4,305 square feet. Excuse me. Number of days for printing, it took 45 days, and this building was printed on site. It means with the help of 3D printing, we are having the building, we are able to build these buildings. Means every real object, each and every real object we can imagine today can be printed with the help of 3D printing, with the help of 3D printer. The material is not any limitation for us today. We just want to have a 3D printer, and in the market, if you all don't have any idea, then I want to tell you that we are having 3D printers available in the market at a very reasonable price, maybe around 15,000 to 20,000 rupees. we are having a HP 3D printer, and with the help of HP 3D printer, we can print these 3D objects. It means using these 3D printers, our manufacturing time it reduces to the great extent, as well as the manufacturing time, as well as the labor time and the assembly time also reduces to the great extent. Next slide, please. And the next technique to be discussed about is augmented reality. This augmented reality is a real wonderful technique. Basically, augmented reality, what does it do? It bridges the gap between the digital object and the physical object. How? By embedding the virtual images or the data onto a physical object in the form of information layer. Means we are having a physical object. Suppose we are having a car, the real car. It is a physical object. And if we are able to superimpose some extra information onto that particular car, will be known as augmented reality. Means what will happen with the help of augmented reality? Suppose we are driving a car and we are not aware how to go for the maintenance of the car when the breakdown occurs. Fine. We are driving a car, we are on the highway, and in case the breakdown occurs, when the breakdown on the car occurs, then we will open the bonnet of the car. Now, when we will open the bonnet of the car is a physical object. Now, if we are having this augmented reality means as we will open the bonnet of the car and we will be using some special lenses. So, with the help of after wearing those special glasses, we can see all the detailed information for each and every component is will be visible to us. Means what is the purpose of that particular component being being present there, and whether this component is okay or not, we can check physically at our own hand. So this is the concept of augmented reality. Means with the help of augmented reality, we can add some extra information to the real object, to the real physical object in the form of information layers. But for this technology, we should be having some artificial augmented reality capable devices such as smartphones, tablets, and smart glasses. Next slide, please. This is an example of General Electric. In the two, this video will not work here. Actually, it is a this is WhatsApp file. Okay, just let me explain this video. In this video, we can see we are having two images on the left hand side, on the right hand side. On the left hand side, it shows skylight, and on the right hand side, it shows baseline. Means what is happening? In General Electric Motors, here we are going for the maintenance of jet engine, or we can see an operator who is standing there in front of the jet engine and he is going for the assembly of those items in case number 1. And behind this operator, behind the stand where he is standing there, you can see that there is a manual being placed on the top of the table just behind this operator. So what will happen? This operator will come down, refer to the manual, again go to the jet engine for the assembly of a particular part, then again come down, he will refer the manual, again he will go and go for the assembly of another component, again he will come down, and so on. So this is the case when the work is being performed by the operator without the help of augmented reality. Fine. And in the second case, we can see again the operator who is working there on the machine, but now he is having special glasses, augmented reality glasses, and with the help of these augmented reality glasses, he don't need to come and refer the manuals. Basically, when he is wearing those glasses, then all the information is available in front of him. Just referring that particular information, he can go for the assembly of the item and thus reducing the time drastically. Now, what is mentioned here is before using these smart glasses, jet engine makers often had to stop what they were doing in order to check their manuals and ensure tasks were being performed correctly. However, with augmented reality glasses, they can now receive digitized instructions in their field of view, and the mechanics can also access training videos or use voice commands to contact experts for immediate assistance. So this is one of the example of augmented reality, कि how augmented reality assists us in reducing this manufacturing time. Next slide, please. Now, what is the present status of industrial evaluation for in India related to the manufacturing? We are having a high domestic market, having the very increasing population, and the government as well as the state government, the central government, all the governments are having the policies to support the organizations, the manufacturing organizations, as well as the amount of invested being provided to these manufacturing organizations is also increasing at a rapid rate, and we are having the advantage of the large workforce, large capable workforce that we are having. This is the biggest competitive advantage that we are having today. Next slide, please. The implications of Industry 4.0 in India. Technologies. When we talk about technology, presently we are using robotics, we are going for 3D printing, we are going for big data, and we are going for analytics, data analytics. When we talk about process, then it is a constant communication, it is a decentralized decision making, standardization, smart transport system. And when we talk about the people, then it is the increased efficiency, skill development, and only to handle disruptions. Next slide, please. Now, how ready is India in adopting Industry 4.0? As per the data collected along the globe, we are at the 54th position, 54th position in the world in adopting this Industry Evaluation 4. Germany and Sweden are the best, they are the pioneers in the country in adopting this concept of industrial evaluation 4. And it is really a tough time for us. We have to come forward and we have to adopt all the tools and techniques related to this industrial evaluation 4. In this case that I have discussed with you, the first one, robot, is still a rarity. In South Korea, we are having 631 robots per 10,000 workers, whereas in India, we are having just 3 robots per 10,000 workers. And the global average is 74 robots per 10,000 workers. Whereas in India, it is just 3 robots per 10,000 workers. And that too, automobiles in the lead. In case of automobile sector, 58 number of robots for every 10,000 workers in Indian automobile industry. When we talk about the formally skilled workers, skilled workforce, there also we are lagging. Although the amount of workforce available in India is too high, but when we talk about formally skilled workforce, there also the condition is really pathetic. We are at the level of 4.7%. Among 100 workers, only 4.7% of the workers are formally skilled workers. So there exist some bottlenecks in the adoption of Industry 4.0 in India. And those bottlenecks, they are, first one is lack of skilled workforce. Next is capabilities and mindset. and third is interaction among academia and industries. Fine. Basically, this topic, industrial evaluation 4, it is a very interesting topic, and there is much and much and much more to be discussed. But due to the limitation of time, I have limited my presentation only to certain techniques, the very important tools and techniques. Along other than these techniques that we have discussed, there exist many more techniques that need to be discussed in detail when we are going for this industrial evaluation 4. Fine. So this is all for my presentation. And
So-
if you have any doubt, then please do ask me.
So thank you, Dr. Manish. Your
Thank you, sir.
presentation is really outstanding. You are covering the overview, yes, of Industry 4.0 and its technology. Yes, within 50 minutes, you cover the evaluation from manufacturing system, journey of manufacturing, then big data, industrial evaluation, robotics, 3D printing, all these you are covering the 50 minutes. So within 2 or 3 minutes, we take some question from the student. If any question answer
Sure, sir.
session from any 1 or 2 students. Any query from student side or faculty side? No. So I will invite Professor Shailen Sinha, sir, for the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Professor Arun. First of
Thank
all,
you,
I am
sir.
grateful to Professor Gupta for giving this beautiful lecture, and he accepted our request for delivering this lecture at a very short notice. So I am very, very thankful to him that
Thank
at
you
a
so
very
much, sir.
short notice he has given a so beautiful lecture. And as now we are passing through whatever the COVID-19, novel COVID-19, and it has shown the emphasis of what is the role of the technology. Now the lectures, everything, automation, everything is going to be very, very important in the near future. I am very thankful to Professor Gupta as he explained the things just starting from the concept from the Stone Age to the machine age, and then again, whatever the modernization is. Definitely, what is happening, customers are demanding very good quality, too much facilities, and they are not going to pay more. And all these things can happen only with the advancement of the technologies. And as far as he has given what is happening in the near future, just about the manufacturing sector, we have to digitize the manufacturing sector. There are many, many methods may be there, many, many techniques may be there, whether it is your Internet of Things are going to be there, or the automation and artificial intelligence, 3D printing, all those things are going to be there. And very, very in a good manner and beautiful manner, Professor Gupta has explained all these things. So again, I am very, very thankful to Professor Gupta. And sometimes in near future, I request Dr. Arun that after this lockdown period, if possible, we have to arrange some lectures of Dr. Gupta at our premise also. Okay,
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your very kind words. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me this opportunity
So thank you.
to present my talk, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay.